Hello, everyone. So I'm here to talk about some veteran receivers that are still out there that could interest Minnesota to some degree, at least I think. And I do know they need to free up money, but I just keep thinking we keep coming back to the Kyle Rudolph thing. If it were to actually happen, they would have some extra money left over to which they could potentially add another veteran type of player that could actually help. So, with that being said, this is somewhat realistic. And the first one I have is Pierre Garcon. So he entered the league as a 6th-round draft pick from the Colts, and he also spent time with both the Skins and the Niners. And the last time he was actually healthy for a full season was in 2016. And he's only played in 16 career games with the Niners the past 2 years. So a little bit of a questionable injury thing given the age of 33, but he was one of Kirk's go-to guys while he was in Washington as the 2 years that he was the starter there. Well, while they were there, 111 targets in 2015 and had 114 in 2016. So you can trust him. It's a pretty safe option. Probably shouldn't have to pay much. And given the receiver depth on this team, could really, really help because I know they drafted 2 7th-round guys just last week, but at the same time, how much faith do you have in 2 7th-round draft picks? Because Treadwell has been a massive disappointment. I don't think we'll have an argument there. But after that, we have a lot of unknowns. Like Chad Beebe, we've only seen him limited times. Brandon Zylstra, don't really know much about him. Aldrick Robinson's gone. There's Jeff Badette, who was on the practice squad last year, coming back over. Jordan Taylor has come over, but he hasn't done much. So receiver depth is an issue, and I think Garcon should be able to add very good depth at the very least if he doesn't take over that third wide receiver spot that is so crucial. So the next one I have here, though, is Michael Crabtree. And 10th overall draft pick by San Fran way back in 2009. And I think he's had a relatively productive career, although because he has been able to get 7,477 yards and 54 career touchdowns, but he's always kind of been more of a possession guy and win the contested catches and with route running, try to get separation that way. Not really a good slot fit, which could actually help us just because they like to put Thielen on the slot. I assume that would stay the same because we still have Stefanski as the offensive coordinator, and we still have Thielen to thrive there. So once again, a guy just to come in, compete with Treadwell, at least for that third receiver spot. I think we've kind of been a little easy on him, given the fact that he hasn't really given us much. But Crabtree, he just never really lived up to his draft status. But I don't think he's necessarily a bad player. And at the very least, I think he could compete with Treadwell. Terrence Williams is the next one I kind of like here. He's never had a season where he's had over 1,000 yards. 840 yards back in 2015 was the closest he's ever gotten to 1,000. And however, Dallas did like him for the fact that he could run after the catch pretty well, and he was a really good blocking wide receiver, which is kind of the only thing Treadwell has. He's a really good blocking wide receiver. So the fact that he has yak ability is nice because we're going to be running this heavy zone running West Coast system where heavy running, so run blocking is helpful. And with a West Coast system, you're likely to be asking your receivers to do more running after they catch the ball. And those are kind of where his two things really thrive. And he did have a tendency to disappear in Dallas, but I think the other problem was Terrence Williams really had an aging Jason Witten and only Dez Bryant to really compete with him until Cole Beasley kind of came up a little bit later on. But for the most part, I think Thielen, Diggs, and probably Irv Smith, if Dalvin can stay healthy, we probably can afford him to disappear sometimes. and he could be a really good guy to have for screens, either him having the ball in his hands or him being used as a blocker in screens. So I think he should fit well in the offense, even if he doesn't have the ball or he kind of has a rough stretch where he isn't getting the ball. I still think he could be a valuable kind of guy to have. And then the last one is Dez Bryant, just because I feel like we have to at least mention his name, because at one point he was considered elite, but now not so much. I still think he has a lot of talent, might be one of the more talented receivers out there left, if not the most talented. And if you can tame his personality a bit, I can see a potential steal kind of signing here, just because he plays a very physical style of football and is kind of everything we hoped Laquan would be. However, he isn't, so let's just go get who we thought he would be, kind of deal. And he did have a torn Achilles last year, which really kind of ruined a lot of things, because he wasn't on the team for a while. Saints finally signed him, then like within a day, it was just done. And that shouldn't be taken lightly that he tore his Achilles, because he is already 30. But even if he was only able to regain 25 to 50% of what he once was, I think you could see a gigantic boost to the offense, and he can be very valuable and just a great asset to have. I would be a little concerned with just how his personality is, just because he's never been on the football field where he wasn't like the man at receiver. And now all of a sudden you're saying, oh no, you have to share with Thielen, Diggs, and Irv Smith's going to come in sometimes and he might take some snaps away from you, or however they plan to use Irv Smith. And then it's got to be a run heavy offense, which means obviously Cook and Madison will receive a pretty healthy dose of touches, I would think. So I would be a little concerned with the personality. That's why it's like this might just be more of a mention. But I would like to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Till next time, I bid y'all adieu.